Android Studio. I have already installed, so there's no setup process. If we install it first time, there will be a setup process. We just need to click on next and proceed. That simple thing. Uh, then after this, uh, we have to install some plugins here. So in the left side, we will see some options for plugins. We need to install Dart, Flutter, and the next I will share accordingly when we proceed with route management or state management. So this won't come for you. We need to search here Flutter. If it then we need I have already installed, but you need to click on install button here, and then we need to search for Dart. So we need both of these plugins to be installed to use the Android Studio for Flutter. After this, we will get to see this new Flutter project. If we don't see this one, we can just close the Android Studio, exit this one, exit the application, and restart it. We will see it then. So when we click on new Flutter project, we need to select this option, Flutter option from this generator. If this is selected, then it will be an Android project, not the Flutter project. So we need to create Flutter project. Then this will come by default, Flutter SDK path, wherever the Flutter SDK has been installed. We, we need to click on next. Then we need to give the project name. So I'm giving here training session 01. So for naming, for everything in development, we have some naming conventions. So for project name, we need to provide snake case, which is all lowercase, and the words needs to be separated using underscores. Then these will be pre-filled by default. There's a description field. We can change it. This project type should be application. There are more project types, but I will go in detail later on. Right now, we need to select application, and this is the organization. So for every application, uh, also please feel free to pause me or like interrupt me for if you have any question or any doubt, anything. Or if I'm going too fast, please feel free to stop me. So for
Where
this,
we need to store the project?
okay, so we need to store the project. This location will become here, like project location, this one. This can be anywhere in your system where you can access. Like if I want to change this, I need to click on this three dots. Then my file explorer or the finder will open. Then I can select the folder where I want to store the project. Suppose I want to store it in desktop, then I will select the desktop option, desktop folder. Then when the project will be created, it will be created inside this desktop folder. Suppose I am clicking this desktop just for example, and click on open or select whatever comes. So this is a desktop folder inside my desktop. This is a folder named desktop in my desktop.
Okay.
Okay, then we have organization. This is for, yes. Okay, okay. Okay, sir. Then we have a solution. We have a Q&A section here. I think, I hope you can see this section here. You can just note it down here. So at the last of the session, we can just discuss those questions. So for the So for organization, this is like suppose we are from PyTangent, so we will just give com.pytangent. This can also be com.example. This is like to the there is a bundle ID or uh, application ID for every application, which is an identifier for any application that needs to be unique. That can't be same from any of the application in the world. So that's why to separate it clearly, because the name can be same, so that's why this organization name is given. So I'm giving com.patingent here. Then this Android language, iOS language, as we know that Flutter is for multi-platform, so we can create the project for Android, iOS, Linux, macOS, web, and Windows. But we won't be going to other platforms right now. Mainly Android and iOS are mostly stable for now, so we are also focusing on that. And the default languages, the official languages for Android is Kotlin right now, and for iOS it is Swift. So this will be selected by default, and we shouldn't change that. Then we need to click on create here. Okay, so actually from Android Studio, I don't like we don't use Android Studio much in our project, so I'm a bit unfamiliar from in few places. So actually, we cannot have the capital in this like upper camel case folders. So for now, I'm just switching this to another folder. This will take a few seconds to complete the scanning and all those things. Give me a minute. I think I need to create it again. There's some issue for in this folder. So Okay, so my project is created. So first of all, we see this project structure here. We have uh, like we have all the folders for platform specific. Suppose we have selected Android and iOS for today's project. So we see here two folders here. Let me know if it is visible. Okay. So we have mainly three folders here. The platform specific folder, which is Android and iOS, and the third folder where we will write all of the code, like mostly all the codes, is lib folder, lib. Then we have few configuration files here in our project, which is pubspec.yaml. One second, someone is trying. Okay. So we have perspec.yaml file, which is the configuration of our project. In any project, we have some configuration like name, description of the application, version of the application, like whatever application we use in our mobile, suppose Amazon or Flipkart or anything, they have a version for tracking for themselves as well, like the development company, and also for the users to track which version they are. Then we have environment, which contains because Dart Flutter runs on the language Dart, so the Dart SDK version is mentioned here. Then I will just remove the comments for now to be clear. Like we can also read the comments mentioned here just to know more details. And this is published to should be none because we have a pub.dev called website which is the official repository for all of our packages, like community supported packages what we use. I will demo that website as well in few minutes. Okay, so yeah, now this is clean. We have the name as training of this application, then description, then publish to this should be none always. Then we have version, then we have version of the application, then we have environment, which contains the SDK version of Dart. This is for Dart. Then we have dependencies. We will use some third-party dependencies in our application. Like almost in every application, we will use some. So first one is the official Flutter SDK. Then we have Cupertino SDK. And first, I forgot to mention this is YAML syntax, where we write in key pair, like in JSON, how we write key value pair. Here also we write the key value pair instead. Like the difference is we don't have quotations for any of the strings, like for the values. Only for where we want it to be specifically to be string, there only we need to mention this. But otherwise we can skip the quotations. Then we have some dev dependencies. So when we build the application, we use during the development we use some dependencies which we don't want to include in the application build. The APK which we build, that doesn't needs those dependencies. Then we include that in the dev dependencies. Then we have some Flutter specific flags like use material design. This accepts the boolean. So it's just true because it by default it comes as true. We can also do it false if we want to follow some other design theme. Then we have some we can include some Flutter specific like things like assets or fonts or some Flutter specific uh, flags like for few in later on when I will showcase some dependencies which needs to be mentioned under this flag Flutter. So I guess this is clear. Then we have a pubspec.log file, which is nothing but which keeps all the dependencies which we mention in pubspec.yaml. It keeps the description and all other details. It is a generated file, and we never need to open this and see what is included here. It's just a generated file from the pubspec.yaml file. So we have few commands in Flutter. Few common commands I will show. Like the first one is we created the project using Android Studio, but we can also use terminal for that. For that, we just need to create Flutter, create, and the name of the application. For now, like it is for this project, it is training. So if we have written this command and run this command, then it would create a Flutter project exactly the same thing what we created with the Android Studio. We also have few flags here, like I can pass my organization name using like this double hyphen and then the name of the flag and then the value of for flag organization. So or suppose I can also give the description here. So how do I know this flags? We can just use flutter create. We can write flutter create hyphen help, double hyphen help. We will get the list of all the flags we can pass to the flutter create command. Like we have this one from here usage flutter create output directory. So we need to write the output directory. If we write here training, then it will create a folder from where we are running the command. So this from where I'm running the command, it is treated as root of root directory, and then from here the work will be done. So if I write flutter create, I can pass hyphen hyphen org hyphen hyphen project name, iOS language, Android language, which we have the UI, the option in the UI in Android Studio. Then the platforms, template, and this is for creating sample code. Like uh, this is never used. These things are never used. This is for just creating some templates, which we can see in these links as well. Then the next command we have, which we will mostly use, is flutter pub. So pub is the official and the only package manager for Flutter projects, Flutter and Dart projects. So the first one is Flutter pub get. If you click on this, it will just get this packages code and store it in our cache of the of our system. So that when we like for this project, whenever we clone a project from GitHub or download any project from somewhere, we first need to do run this command flutter pub-get. This is the most important command. After this we have more commands. If we are on the Android Studio, we will also get the commands here, suggestions here. Flutter pub-get, pub upgrade, pub outdated, and flutter doctor. So flutter doctor is for just checking the everything, every configuration is okay or not in my system for flutter. Then flutter pub outdated will mention the packages which are outdated and we need to upgrade those. Like we have the pub has some updated version of that package, then those will be listed if it uh, run pub outdated, flutter pub outdated. For flutter pub upgrade, this will upgrade the dependencies to the matching, like uh, which are available for our project. So we also have dependency constraints. Suppose like for one dependency is 1.0.8 and the other dependency I'm trying to use is one point. Some dependencies use other dependencies as well. Suppose I am using ABC package. I want to use ABC package here that uses Cupertino icons, another Dart dependencies or Flutter dependency, which uses another version of this, like not what I'm using in my project. Then there's some conflict. So if we run Flutter pub commands and not manually add these things, then it will be then we won't face any issues. Yes. Now I will also show the pub.dev website. So if we go to pub.dev, we will see this UI, and here we can search this as this is written the official package repository for Dart and Flutter apps. So we can search whatever dependency we need, and suppose I want to add, just for example, I'm taking searching in a package river pod. If we go to the dependency screen, detail screen of this dependency, we see here what are the its readme, its change log like the versions, what is changed in which version, then example, how to use this. This README will always contain how what is the installation or setup process, and then example will show us the usage of example usage of this package. Then we also have installing section here, which mostly for all the dependencies included in README as well. Then versions and scores. This is not much needed. We just need to take care of the likes and pub points. These things, how what is the value of this? Like we don't use packages which have less pub points. Like 160 is the maximum. If it has less than 100, then we don't consider it to use in our applications because there's this is maintained by community developers. So we cannot rely on every dependency. We just need to check it is verified by a publisher or not. Like publisher can be unknown publisher or it will be a verified publisher. So it's better to use the packages from publisher who are verified and the pub points are good. Pub points are based on the project like documentation and other things. We can see everything here, how the scores are given. Then we also see some, this is the description, and then we have home page and repository for GitHub. Home, we can also go to GitHub page of this dependency. Suppose if I want to include this package in my project, then I just need to click on this copy, and I need to sorry, I need to include that under the dependencies. I click on here, enter, and then paste this. And need to after every change in this pubspec.yaml file, we need to click on pubget. This will run the flutter pubget command and will update our project accordingly to the this configuration file. We can ignore this type of hints. This is from a package which doesn't recognize riverport as an English word. It's nothing else. uh, just a minute, a few people are joining. Let me Razak, can you please help me if someone joined? Just please check the teams.
Okay, okay, sure, sure, Darius.
Thank you. Okay, so now I will try to go in the code part. So first of all, when we work on any project, what is the main thing? We need to run the project. So here we have the run button as well. From the left, in the left side, we can see the main file here. We have a main.dart file in lib folder, which is the starting point or the entry file of the project from where the code will be executed. Inside the main.dart file, we have a main function, which is the entry function. From every languages, we know that this is the entry point of any project, any program. So we can also click on this, or we can go to terminal. Like sometimes there are some due to the some issues in Android Studio, sometimes this may not work. So we can also, like, I'm just showing the ways we have. So we can also try Flutter run command. This will also do the same thing as we do from this button. So let me do it with the UI. I am on a Mac machine, so I'm using a simulator. If you are on a Windows or Linux machine, you will be using an emulator. So this will take a few moments. We can click on this button, run, or the shortcut is command or control 4. And we can check the status, like it's building or it's failed, anything. So this is the sample code boilerplate generated by the Flutter, which is a counter application. If you click on this button, it will just increase the text. It is, I haven't changed any code. This is the simple thing which is generated by the Flutter create command. So now in a mobile application, in any screen, there are few components of a screen. So this is the full screen area, and they are divided by some name or some area part. So I will just try to give the overview of those things. So the top thing which we see is an app bar, where we get to see the title of the screen and a drawer, hamburger icon, or a back button in, like, according to which screen we are. Then we see in the top, this is called the status bar from the top area, where we have the time and battery, this Wi-Fi things. These things are shown. This is known as, like, this part. This part is known as status bar. Then this part is known as app bar. And then this whole white area, white section is known as the body of the screen. Then we see some buttons floating, like in the center or in the right or in some anywhere in the bottom part. Those are known as floating action area, or floating, this can be called as floating action button. Also in some applications we see that we have some bottom navigation. In the bottom we have few options like home, account, card, those kind of things. So that is known as bottom navigation bar or the navigation bar. Then we have something known as drawer, like what we see in few applications, like I think Facebook has that. So if you click on the hamburger menu, I will show that things by coding in few minutes. So if you click on hamburger, the some panel kind of thing opens with few options. So that is known as drawer. So we can have that in both of the sides, from the left, opening from the left or opening from the right. So these are divided by, just these are the common names we use to mention. Then I will try to explain this main code written in the main.dart. Let me clear the comments first. This is the default code. I will let me remove all the code and we'll try to start from scratch. So we just need to leave this one, or we can also remove this. Let me start from the beginning. So I will write a function void main, and Then I need to write a call a function inside the main, which is run app function. What it does is runs the application. Main function starts our program, but run app takes up a widget. I will come to what is a widget and what widgets, like how to use widgets. But just suppose widget is a UI component, what we see in the screen for now. So inside run app, we need to provide the root widget, what we will show in the first, in the starting of the application. When it started, we showed a screen or we showed like some logo or anything. We need to provide that root widget. So for now, I haven't created any widget, so I will try to create one first. Then we'll give that widget as a parameter here. So there, because we create because we installed some plugins for like Dart and Flutter, so we get some suggestions here or shortcuts to create the widgets and for many things. So if we want to create widget, we for now I'm just telling the commands. Later on, I will explain what those things are. So for now, I'm writing a STLESS, this one, and this will create me a widget. I'm giving a name for that as my app, and will pass that my app thing, my app class. I will call that my app class inside run app function. So we need to import material here. We can also use Cupertino, but mostly we use material. What is the difference between material and Cupertino? Material is a design system from Google, and Cupertino is a design system from Apple. As we are dealing with both like multi-platforms, so we have all the options in Flutter here. So now I will explain what a widget is and what are the types of widgets. So first of all, widget is nothing but a class which has their life cycle, like how the widget starts, how the widget is created, how it interacts with the user, or how it goes out of the memory. Because when we create a class, it takes up some memory in our application, in our device. So that class is created and interacted with the user, and then like cleared off from the memory. So that life cycle is something known as state. So let me write these things down. So widget is nothing but a UI component. It is in the code perspective, it is a class, and in the visual perspective, it is a UI component. If I want to write a text in the screen, then I will create a stateless, like create a widget, and will like write the text inside that. How will we do that? We will I will explain that. But what is a widget? It is a UI component. What we see in the screen of the mobile application. Simple. And then types of widgets. How many types of widgets are there? This is based on state. So the first one is stateless widget, and then we have stateful widget. So stateless, as I mentioned, that every widget has some life cycle. So it means that it has a state. Life cycle means state. Like whatever the UI. Suppose I created a widget which is a colored box of red color, and I want to change the color to yellow. So it has some information inside that widget, that what is the color of that widget, red or yellow or some any other color. So that is known as state. So those widgets which have their own state, like we are not passing the state from outside, we are those widgets have the state of their own, then it is known as stateful widget. And if those widgets don't have any state of their own, then it is known as stateless widgets. I hope I'm clear for this. So state is nothing but the properties, or like in terms of coding, we can say the properties of a widget, like properties of a class, which can be retained. Like those stateful widget will have their state of their own, which can be like if until we don't clear it, that will be retained by them. And if the stateless widget is there, that can be cleared as soon as they go up, like when we change the data from outside as well. So I will give an example of stateless and stateful widget. So this is a stateless widget created. We just have this is abstract class. If we click on command click or control click, we go to the file inside the framework. This is a stateless widget which extends widget. This is again an abstract class. So I'm not going to the every abstract classes. This is the inside the framework, but I just mentioned that this is a abstract class which we are extending. Then we have a constructor here which contains a super dot key. This thing. This key parameter is for every widget there is some unique identifier, or we can say ID. So this key is nothing but an ID. For every widget, we can see that their constructor. If we hover on any widget of Flutter widgets, we can see they have some parameters here. So if we see every widget will have this parameter key. So this is nothing but an ID. We can use that ID later on to call that, like how we have IDs in HTML, CSS. We use that ID for selecting in CSS. So it's similar to like that. The usage are different, but the concept is same like HTML, CSS. So let me open the Flutter docs to show some basic widgets first. So we can go to docs.flutter.dev and then click on widget catalog. Then we have so many options here. I will start with this basics. We have app bar widget. So just yeah, sorry. So we have app bar widget here, which is for placing the content in the app bar area, which I said mentioned earlier. Placing the contents in the app bar, we need to use the app bar widget. Then we have column widget. Column is for aligning the widgets. Let me one by one start that, show the examples of those widgets. So first of all, I'm starting with the stateless widget. We don't need the stateful widget right now. Maybe later on, I will just give the overview of that. For now, let's because mostly we use stateless widget. Then inside this build method, we need to return the combination of widgets which we use to build the screen, the whole screen. So there will be app bar, there will be bottom nav, there will be the body of the this whole area. So for that, like placing the things in play, like how it should be, we use a widget known as scaffold. So what it does, it just simply puts a default theme, default positioning of all the widgets we will pass inside this. This is nothing but a stateful widget. So as we see, this the constructor of scaffold contains app bar, body, floating action button. There are many other things as well. So one by one, I will give the show the example. So in scaffold, we can pass app bar, and then in the value, I need to pass a widget. So in the value, as we can see, is this clearly visible, no? Just confirm me once. Is it too small or is suggestion? Okay. So all we can see what it is accepting here by hovering on those. So it is accepting preferred size widget. So preferred size widget is an abstract class, but there are more implementation classes of that. So there is one app bar widget. Uh, we can also, if we don't know what widget I can pass, we can just check what widgets are available in this doc, this widget catalog. So okay, so now this is a good thing. We got an error. This is a normal error screen. Whenever we do something wrong, we will see this one. So why this is coming? Because we haven't used a material app or widgets app or Cupertino app. We have three root widgets, which I mentioned earlier that we need to pass a root widget here in the run app. That is, we have three root widgets. One first is material app, then we have widgets app. What these things do, it just provides basic like not basic but every customization or whatever theming or whatever routing we want, we can apply those things in these widgets. This provides many functionalities here. So what I will do, I will just click on this scaffold, click on this hint icon, or I can also click alt enter, and I will get some suggestions. So there is a suggestion for wrap with widget. So this scaffold will become a child of another widget. I will get as you can see the example right side. We will see something like this. Scaffold will be inside some widget. So I will just do wrap with widget and then mention my widget with which widget I want to wrap this. Material app. Then this needs to be home. Whatever we use, material app, widgets app, mostly we will use material app. Like we don't, in 99% of the cases, we will use material app. So this has many properties like home, navigation. For navigation, also there are things. Home is what? For providing the first screen from where the application will start. It can be welcome screen or some other screens, but this is the initial starting screen we provide to home. In the next classes, these few things, these are the default basic things which I am explaining, but this all things will change. Like this will change much when we go to route management or state management. Those classes, these things will be changed. But for now, so that's why I'm not explaining all the other examples which we don't use. Then uh, now the like screen is blank, but we don't get any error screen, so that's good. Okay. So as we can see, material app has more options. I will show few of them, like title. So we need to pass a string here. Like what is the name of my application? Mostly we will pass the name of the application because whatever we pass, it will be shown here in this place. So suppose I'm passing session. This might need a restart. So I'm not restarting it because it will just waste time. So we can pass any title to it. Then we have theme. Here we can pass the default theme to be applied everywhere in the application. Suppose we have app bar somewhere, but we don't want to provide the color of that app bar everywhere. We want a default color to maintain consistency of the application. So we can pass those things inside this theme. This accepts the theme data. Here we can pass, like suppose there are many other options, but for example, I'm showing the app bar theme. Then this will accept the app bar theme class as the parameter. Then as I mentioned, background color I want to change. I want to give colors. So I will explain all those parameters again when we go to that. For now, I'm just explaining how we can change the theme. For giving color to anything, we have a colors class. So we just do colors dot. Suppose I want to give purple. So this changed to purple. Because I have given app bar here, so that's why it is appearing here. Inside the scaffold, I have provided app bar here. That's why it's appearing here. If I comment this one, there won't be any default app bar. So scaffold provides default theming and default positioning, but not will not provide the widgets by default. Then we can also have like elevation. Elevation is nothing but there will be a shadow here. We also need to have some more configuration for that. We'll show that later on, ignoring that right now. So inside the app bar here, so this theme data has more options. I just showed the app bar theme here. We will go to more details in the later classes. Then inside the app bar, suppose I want to give the title as home screen. So I will enter title. This will take a widget as the value. So I will give a text widget. This is a widget which we use to display any text. As we have app bar to display the app bar, scaffold for configuring the whole screen. Similarly, we have some other widgets which we use to show the UI, like visual UIs, like text or image, those kind of things. So if I write here home screen, we see here home screen. It's not looking good. I want to change the color of the home screen to white. I can provide the style of this text. Style. This is the okay. So one more thing to note here, like we have two kinds of parameters, three kinds of parameters, but mostly we use two kinds of parameters for a class in Dart. So we have positional parameter, we have named parameter, and we have the third one is like optional but named parameter. So mostly we will use the positional parameter and the name parameter. What is the difference? Suppose if I go to this class text, this is a positional parameter, and these are the uh, named parameter. What we give inside this curly braces inside the constructor are the named parameters, and whatever we give without the curly braces directly inside the constructor are the uh, like positional parameter. We need to pass it according to the position. So the style is a name parameter. Then I will pass the value. It will take text style for whatever. If we don't know what it will take, we can just see it will take text style. So here I want to change the color. So as I already told, like for color, we need to write colors dot. Now I want to. There are many default colors provided by the Flutter. We can also like use custom colors using hex code or something. I will show the example right now. So right now I want to use white. So it is white. I also want to change the font size or font weight. So I will after this color parameter, I will give a comma and font weight. Font weight dot W. There are many options, W100 to W900, and also normal and bold options. So this, as the number increases, the weight of this text will increase. Suppose if I give W 300, this is very light, very thin. If I change it to 900, this will be very bold. So for now, I'm giving it a 600. Then I want to change the size. Okay. Suppose if I give 12, this will be smaller. If I give 30, this is changing. Then we have more options like text decoration and those. Like if I want to give an underline for the text, I can write text decoration dot underline. This adds the decoration here. I don't know if it is visible. This black color decoration underline is there. I can also change the color of the underline, like decoration color, and then again provide the color for that. Colors dot white. Now it is white color. So suppose if I want to provide a color from hex code, I don't want to use the default these colors, these options. So if I will just write color, close the bracket, 0xff. And we need to write this thing first. 0 small x capital F two times. Then we need to provide the hex code. I will just go to Google to fetch some color. Suppose I want to give this color. I will copy this export. We just to note here, like in a hex code, there is a hash previous in the before the text, before the code. So we don't need to include that. Otherwise, it will give an error. So we just need to provide this six characters from a hex code. So as the color was green here, you can see the decoration color is changed to green. We have also have more options for colors. Like we can write color dot that was from hex code. We also have from RGBO, the from RGBO, which is red, green, blue, and opacity. So I can provide the red component of the color, green component of the color, and the blue component of the color. Like for this one, we have 76, 255, and 51 respectively. And the opacity is for like how much visibility we want for that color. One is the maximum and zero is the lowest. So it takes only between 0 and 1, and these are the integer values. This takes the double value from 0 to 1. So for now, I'm just undoing it to have the hex code. Also, as we see some suggestions here that use const with the constructor to improve. So whenever we are calling a constructor, we are calling a class, we can include a const before that if that contains a const constructor, and we are not passing any dynamic value. What is const? It is compile time constant. This will improve the performance of the application, because then the compiler will know that we don't need to rerun this code, we build this code when anything changes. So from this, we come to an interesting point, which is build and rebuild. So this build function is called of any widget when the widget comes to the screen. Like suppose I'm on a home screen, I also have a card screen or some like details screen. So there the details screen is not present here. So that build method, the build method of that detail screen will not be called. That won't be built. When it sorry, when we go to detail screen by any navigation by clicking on some button or something, then that build method will be called and the widgets inside that will be built. And what I mean by rebuild is suppose a user clicked on there is a counter like what we previously saw, plus button here and the counter text here. So when I was clicking plus button, the text was increasing. So those changes, when we do any changes, the UI rebuilds. Like suppose if I have written here one and there's some interaction in with the user on any event, I need to change this text. So for that, we rebuild this application. We rebuild this widget, not the entire application. This widget. So for how we change the states, that is called state. If we want to change this one, then this is a state. This is because this is an information containing inside the widget. So this is a state. If I am want to change this, if this is a static, that's not a state. Then I will show example of some more widgets right now. I will give the body parameter inside the scaffold, which is this area, this part. Here I will, we have some layout widgets, but like those widgets are not visually seen like text widget. This is a visually seen widget. But suppose I want to perform like in the CSS. I hope CSS, like many of uh, attendants were like aware with the HTML CSS. So sometimes I will try to give the example with those things. So in CSS we have flex box. Similarly, here we have column and row widgets. So it is just used to align the align the children in the direction whatever we want. So we have first column. This is a alignment widget. Like we can provide the children inside that children parameter. This will take list of widgets here. I can provide one text. As we can see, this is uh, the text widget is coming here at the top. Then I want to provide one more text here. As you can see, this comes next to the below this first text children. So what column does is it aligns the widgets vertically, one after another. So we have more properties for a column. How we want to align the widgets. These are the children that will be like laid out from top to bottom. But we have more options here like cross-axis alignment and main axis alignment. So main axis for a column is vertical from top to bottom, and cross axis for a column is from left to right, horizontal. So for main axis alignment, I can pass main axis alignment dot this. There are enum values for this main axis alignment dot. We have center, end, space around, space between, space evenly, and start. So center is for centering the in the main alignment. This one, this will center. Let me comment this one. When we have any error in the code, this will not be reloaded. So let me comment this one. So this comes to the center of this main axis. This is the main axis. Then if I want to center it in the uh, not center it, I want this to be at the end here in this position. Then I will just put here end. Or if I want the first text children here, but the second text children here, then I will do space between. the space will be given between of those two texts. So now, as you can see, this text is not clearly visible due to this curve of the phone. So to avoid that issues, we wrap the scaffold, sorry, not the scaffold, whatever we use inside this body, we wrap that with a widget known as safe area. It just gives padding from all the sides, default padding from all the sides, like from the bottom, or if there is a bottom upper, it won't apply a padding from top. But if there is no upper, it will apply a padding, default padding. From here, it will start. Sorry. So also we have a padding widget. If I want a padding from left as well, we can provide a padding to the column. If you provide a padding to the column, it will get applied to this children as well, and this child as well, and this child as well. So I will just wrap the column with one more widget, which is padding. This will take a parameter as when I try to wrap a widget, it will like always come to the child of that parent, and then I will use the padding widget, sorry, padding property. It will accept edge inserts geometry. So edge inserts geometry is nothing but a class to provide for every widget composition like this. We need to provide some of the classes in the values. So yeah. So for this value of padding, I will provide edge inserts. We don't need to provide geometry here. We just need to provide edge inserts dot. We have multiple constructors here. So the first one is from LTRB, symmetric, all, from view padding only, and LERP. So from LTRB is left, top, right, bottom. The padding from we need to provide four values here from left, top, right, and bottom accordingly. So this will take four values. Suppose I want to give 16 from left, 8 from top, again 8 from bottom, or just to notice I am giving 50 from bottom, sorry, from right, and bottom as well 50. So as you can see, this uh, comes up 50 pixels. Now we have more options here, like I'll comment it. We have symmetric here. What symmetric does, it takes value two values from horizontal and from vertical, whatever we want. Sorry, it will take position name parameter as horizontal will, let's choose 50, and vertical it's 20. If I change this, suppose I'm changing the vertical, you can see the change here. If I increase the horizontal, it will so this applies, if we use symmetric, this will apply from both the sides. So what this means, 50 from left and 50 from right. Because we don't have such a long text, it is applying only from the left, but let me show it by writing some long text. So this, as you can see, this is applied from both the sides. Let me write some more random characters here. So whatever we write, it won't go beyond this 50 pixels. It will always have the 50 pixels as the padding from both the sides. If I decrease it to 5, it will like the padding here is not this much. It is 5 pixel only, but because the next text, the next word is long and not fitting there, so it came to the next line. So I'm keeping it 50. Now we have cross-axis alignment for the column. As the main axis is this one, so the cross-axis is the horizontal one for the column. There is also a row widget for which these are opposite. Now let me show the cross-axis. So this goes to left side, as you can see. If I do this center, it will come to center. As this is very long text, this is already in center, so that will not change. You can also have space. So we have start, end, center. Stretch is it just stretches the widgets like in that axis. So we mainly use start, which is for placing it. This is the cross axis, so it will place the widgets children from the start in this cross axis. If we put it to end, it will just do the opposite thing. Now we have. Uh, I will show few more widgets. I will add inside this column. We have one widget which is row. I will change this main axis for the column for now to be start, and this one also to be start. We have a sized box widget. Suppose I want spacing between this first text and the second text. I can use a sized box. It is nothing, just a empty size. It provides an empty size between some widgets. I can provide height width of this size box. It doesn't changes anything. I need to provide by default the height and width are 0. So I need to provide a height, suppose 50. I could have also done that using the padding widget. I can also do this using a pad. If I change the width here, it won't change anything. Let me complete the size box, then I will go to the padding way. Suppose I give 500 as the width. It won't change anything because there's no text. There's nothing in the side. It will just increase the width of this size box. Suppose there's an imaginary widget, imaginary box here, which has a height of 50 and the width of 500. This can be anything, but that doesn't matter, the width. Now, if I wanted to move, like give this spacing using the padding widget, I don't want to use size box. I will wrap this text widget using the padding and will give only here, like call the only constructor of agent sets. I will give the top. I can mention here top, left, right, bottom here. Left, top, right, bottom. All are optional parameters. So I will just provide the top as 50. If I do it 0, there is no gap. If I do it 50, it's same as how we did it with the size box. So there are multiple ways of doing a few things, but these things will matter when we design complex screens. Right now, there's nothing different. We achieve the same thing using both the way. Then we have uh, container widget. So for container, we can suppose I want to provide a decoration or like some background color or some radius or anything to some other widgets. I will use a container widget first, and then in the child, I will provide something else. So let me wrap this text with the container for now. I'm removing padding for a minute. I can also click on, like, if I want to remove the padding from here, I can click on this bulb screen. From the suggestions, I will click this option, remove this widget. Now I want to wrap this with a container. I'm giving a comma for a better formatting here. Like when we give comma after ending of the brackets, it just formats the code better. So we have multiple parameters here, height and width. Container is nothing but a like a box. As we had the sized box, it just takes height, width, and the child. This also has the child parameter, but for in the container, these two widgets are very much similar. It just has some extra properties than the size box. So first property, which is very useful, is decoration. Here we need to provide a box decoration. As the name suggests, it is like a box, so we are providing some decoration for this box. So inside the box decoration, we have parameters like color, border, border radius, box shadow, gradient, image, and shape. So color is the like background color of this container. Suppose if I give colors dot black, this will give the background color as black. Because the text is also has the default color as black, we can't see that. I will give it green. Now I want to give some padding. I want this is not looking good. I want to give some padding. We also have that parameter in this container, not inside the decoration, inside the container. This is a different parameter, and I want to give a different parameter here. Again, edge insets dot. Suppose I want to give all sides same values, like from left, top, right, bottom. I want different values. I want to give the same values from everywhere. Suppose x 12. So it applies 12 from all the sides. I want to let me increase the font size for to see it better. Style. Same thing which I have done with the appers text. I will do here. One thing to notice here, as I increase the font size, you can see that containers height width is also increasing. So the if this has a height width parameter, but if I don't provide that, it will take a default height width according to the child provided to it. So if the text takes x height and y x width and y height, this container's height and width will also be the same. Then we have uh, I provided the padding here, but we also have margin here. I want a margin from top. These things are very similar from the CSS, just the syntax and writing style are different. So we have margin property here inside the container. This also accepts the same thing, edge insets dot only. I want to provide the padding like spacing only from the top. So I have the spacing of 20 from the top, and also the 12 spacing from all the sides inside the container. Padding for the inside thing, inside spacing, and margin for the outside spacing of the box. Similar to the box constraints we have box model in the CSS. Then I want to provide a border radius to this container. This sharp edge thing I don't want. So if I want to give a radius there, I will type border radius. Then I can give value as border radius dot. Again, every most of the widgets have multiple constructors. So for this border radius, I will use circular. I just need to provide a double value here, 20. So this 20 pixels as the radius has been added here. This has more this constructors. If I want to give different values for top left, top right, uh, bottom right, bottom left, then I can do border radius dot only. Inside this, I will provide for border left. So this doesn't takes the double value directly. It takes radius as the parameter. Radius dot circular. So this will only be applied to the bottom left. This this one. I can also provide for the top left, top right. Suppose. This will also take the radius dot circular. I can provide different value for it. This is useful when we want to provide different values for all the border radiuses, all the corners. Then we have something for border. This was the border radius, and this is border. If I want to apply some border for this, I can give border dot all. I'm providing some color for that border. Suppose colors dot white. Sorry, white won't be visible. I'm adding black here. So the border is added. I want to increase. If I want to increase the thickness, I will give width here, 5 or 10, whatever we give the value, it will increase accordingly. We also have box shadow in a container. Box shadow gives like 3D like object like feel. Let me show this box shadow. Sorry, this takes a list of box shadow, not a single box shadow. So I will provide a third bracket here first, just like uh, to provide the multiple box shadows inside it. As you can see, this takes list of box shadow. So inside it, I will create the object of box shadow here. In that, I can provide colors dot gray, then blur radius of some values. So as you can see, the box shadow is this is not beautiful, but just to show, if I change the blur radius, this will be less blurred. Like according to the value of this, as the name says, it is for blurring how much blur we need. And this is the spread radius, how far it will go from the container. If I increase this to 10, it will be less. And if I increase blur radius to more, it will be more blurry. Okay, suppose there's a situation where we want this text because we have the cross-axis alignment as start. This is starting from here. This is the cross-axis alignment for the column, but we want this widget to be center in this cross-axis. So we can't do it for all the widgets. We only want it to be centered for this widget. So I will just wrap it with one more widget which is center. So here's few of the commonly used widgets gives we get in the suggestions here only. If anything else we want to wrap with something else, then we can click on this option. If we do this one, it will change to this thing. So a wrap with center, it will just it will center the child, which is for this case container. It will center the child to be in the center of the alignment which it can. Like for this vertical thing, it can't center because this is that is maintained only through the column. That's why we are wrapping the children's inside the column to align vertically according to it. If we want this to be center, this container to be centered vertically, then there's a different way. Like we need to do center this thing, main axis alignment. So this is the this is the commonly used widgets. Let me yeah, we have one more widget, row, which is like opposite to columns in terms of alignment. We have the same things like children, main axis alignment, and cross axis alignment. So here, let me add one children first. I'm adding a sized box for better visibility here. So we have row child 1 and row child 2. Let me take containers with, let me show a colored box. One more widget is there, colored box. It just takes the color simply, colors dot green, and one widget with colors dot red. If I show with the boxes, that will be easier instead of text. I need to pass the height and width for that. Okay, I need to provide the child here. Inside the child, I'm providing a sized box, which will take the height and width. Well, format it a bit. So I'm just collapsing these colored boxes. This is just used to have, we can also do this using the container and giving the decoration and color inside that as we did for this. But we have a, for colored box, we have a simple thing for this. We can, whatever in here also, we can provide the text as second texture. This will be similar to this one. Just for having the color. If you want more flexibility for border, box shadow, and radius, those things, we need to use container. So now coming back to the row widget, it aligns the widget horizontally. As we can see, this after this green box, the red box is coming to the right, not at the bottom as we have in the column. So this is the green box, and this is the red box. Let me add the const here again. Okay. So now, same as we had the main axis and cross axis for column, we have this for row. We can provide main axis. For this, main axis is this opposite thing. The horizontal one is the main axis, and the vertical one is the cross axis. So for this, I am giving main axis alignment dot center. This will bring this to the center. We also have the same things: start, end, and space between, space evenly. Those things. If we do space between, it will go. It will give the space in the between. Space. What is space evenly? It gives like the ratio is different. It doesn't give the all the space in between. It gives the space to all three like in between. If you had one more box here, it will give one more like equal spaces. It will give equal spaces in between, also in the sides. And if we do space around, it will give less space in the sides and more space in the between, like this, space evenly, space around. In the between, this will space more. So this also has the cross axis. This won't work here because inside the column, the main axis is the more powerful thing. Like if we have main axis as start and we have the cross axis as center, the row will apply the cross axis in only in this area, because it's not row and columns are not visible. But just imagine that this row is taking only the height of this colored boxes. The row is only till this area and not till this, the whole area. So that's why it will take only the it will align cross axis in the center only in this area. So if I add a size box and increase the height of the row, this thing, this is the height of the row, this is the row, so this is the height of the row. If I want to increase the height, suppose if I give the height as 200, this is the 50 height. If I give it 200, it will be like this area. So then this center will be applied. Let me show that. Wrap this widget, size box, height to be 200. So now it applies. So suppose if I give 400, it will behave similarly like this. But if we don't provide this size box, it like cross axis won't be effective. Now let me go through the docs and see few more common widgets so that okay. So we have seen column, app bar, container. This Flutter logo is just for adding a logo of this Flutter icon. Now let's move to buttons and icons. These things. We have also seen the row, scaffold, and text. I'm collapsing this row here. Now, if I want to put a button here, I can use, there are different types of button. The first one is material button. This is the like default button or without any styling, without any default styling. We have more buttons like elevated button or icon button or text button. Uh, Razak, please take like I won't be able to write these things here. Just please write those things alongside, right? Like with what I'm telling for the options part only, so that we can easily provide it after the call.
Okay. Okay. Harsh.
Okay, thank you. So the material button is not visible here. We need to provide some child here. Then only we will see the button. What is child? Like this is the material button widget is for providing the functionality of click and like showing the behavior of a button, what we like see for a button, what we want for the button. First parameter is on pressed, and then there is child parameter. So what is on pressed? It takes a function as input, and child takes a widget as input. So let me complete the child, then we'll go back to on pressed. I'm giving a text example button. So now again, this is in the starting because the cross axis of the column is start. I want it to be centered. So I will just wrap it with center. This is in center now. I also want some size. Okay. Now I also want some color, background color of this text, of this button. Let me also put the text color to be white. I will give the style, text style, and now colors dot white. I'm also doing it as font because there's nothing dynamic, and also the constructor of text is constant. So if you have noticed, few of the widgets are giving suggestion to use const, but few of them are not suggesting anything because the constructors are not constant. If you see, uh, sorry, not because of constant, because uh, either the constructor are not constant or the values we provide are not uh, static, not constant. Suppose for this on pressed, we are not providing a constant, we are providing a function, which is not a constant. So that's why it won't accept a const here. It will give an error, invalid constant value for this. So this is a syntax for provide like passing a function, anonymous function to a whatever is expecting a function. So normally what we write is like normally to write a function, we write like the return type, then sorry, not future. Suppose string, then the function name, like suppose get name, or I'm giving int as a return type, then calculate, then the parameters inside it, and then the function body. This is giving error because we are not returning the int here. We need to write int and then some value. I'm just giving random value, not implementing any function here. So this will take some inputs here as the parameters. This can take, but this is the default way of writing a function. In the most of the language, this is the way. But here we also have few more things of writing a function as like this. We can define that to a variable. Suppose so. I'm forgetting the name, but I think this is known as first order function or something. But this is also known as the anonymous function. Generally, we call it as anonymous function. And this is the thing we pass in where we are expecting a function. Suppose for onPressed, this is expecting a function with a return type of void. So the return type is void, and the function has no parameters. If this function here parameter, let me show the constructor of this onPressed. For that. Okay, so yeah, so when we want to accept a function, we can write it like this. In the let me okay let I think this will go long way. Let me complete the onPress thing here. Then we will go to how to accept a function or create our own widgets. That also we need to check see. So let me do something like if I want to show a snack bar here or when we click on this button, as you can see, we have a splash kind of default behavior for the button because we have used a material button. Now we can use scaffold messenger for showing a uh, toast or pop up, whatever we see, like when we do have success or errors in any application, we see those kind of messages. Using this, we can produce those scaffold messenger dot off, and then inside that context show snack bar. Inside that, we need to provide the snack bar widget, which will be shown here. This is for calling the showing the snack bar, and this is for this is the widget we will show. So I will create the snack bar here. This will again take a widget inside the content, whatever we want to show. Suppose sample snack bar, and we need to pass this snack bar here. Now, if you click on example button, let me reload this. Just a minute. Sorry, I'm getting some errors. Let me just check this. Let's come to this snack bar later on, because normally because I'm doing the basic things here, we don't use these things in the project. Um, I think I forgot this thing. I will show the what we use normally in our projects. So let's ignore this for now. I will just do a change of this second text child, this text. So what I was also saying previously, the state change, we have an example of that here. So if we want to change anything on the screen in the runtime, suppose as a, for runtime example is if I click on this button, this will change this text. So we need to call a function known as set state, which is not available here because we are using a stateless widget. If we use a stateful widget, we will have the set state function. We cannot change anything if it is a stateless widget inside this my app widget, until we have any state management solution, which we will explore in the later classes. So if I want to convert a stateless widget to a stateful widget, because I want to change the values here, I will just click on the stateless widget and on this bulb icon for the suggestion. Also, I can also press Alt Enter to get the suggestion. Then click on this convert to stateful widget. It will change this to have the structure. So for a stateless widget, we only have one class like this. Let me show. We have a single class. Inside that there is a constructor and there is a build method. But for a stateful widget, we have two classes here. As you can see, class myapp extends stateful widget, which has a constructor, and the create state method. This is the lifecycle method which I was talking earlier about the um, life cycle of a widget. This is called when I'm calling the constructor for this class for this widget. Sorry, give me 1 second. So What this create state does, it calls my app state. This is another private class created here. This is the state class which contains the state. This class doesn't have any state or any information, but the below class for a stateful widget, we always need to have two classes. We don't need to remember the syntax exactly because we have the suggestions, but this is what it creates. It extends the state class. This thing needs to be same. If by chance if we are creating this manually, we need to make sure this state the type should be my app. Inside this also, inside this also. This is type. Wherever we want to provide any type to a class, like generic methods or generic classes, anything where we are providing any type, we provide it in Angular brackets here. So the build method here is in the state class. This is the state class. We normally like mention this as the state class, and this is the widget class. So also because these classes are there are two classes. If we want to access something in this state class from this above widget class, we need to write it as like widget dot, and then we can access. Suppose I have a parameter here. I'm adding a parameter final string name. I'm making it a required parameter. Required this dot name. To access the field, we need to write this. Using this, we can like refer to the class of this class, and then the properties of that. This is the way of adding the parameters in the constructor. Then, as I have made this required parameter, I'm getting the error here. I can add the parameter here, name. Okay, for this suggestion to get, I just pressed Control and space, and I got the suggestion what is missing here in the constructor. I got the name, enter. Then I can provide the string here. Uh, I'm giving some. I'm giving my name. For example. Then, if we want to access, uh, there's no error. uh, It's just not compiled completely. We can ignore this thing because sometimes the compiler doesn't recognize all the changes. So that's why it is saying. But we have already mentioned this in the constructor, so there's no error. Now I want to change this. Let's show this name in here in the container. Instead of second text child, I want to show that name. So because that is in the above class, not this class, I can access that this name property only using the widget field, which is available inside the state class. From the widget, what is widget? That refers to this class, my app class. This is the widget class, and this is the state class. So from the state class, if we want to access the widget class, we need to write widget, which also shows here the session my app. This refers to the my app. Then widget dot name. Let me restart this. Okay. So if this kind of errors happen, like if we think that we are correct, but this doesn't render correctly in the application, that mainly happens when we have outer changes, not internal changes in a widget. We have added a parameter and that is not reflecting correctly. Then we can just hot restart or hot reload. From here, like we only have the run button, which also works as hot reload. But if we click on run option here, we get all the options of hot reload, hot restart, and this is the Flutter dev tools. We'll go to that as well. So let's come back to the widget.name. So let me change it to not final. Uh, if we don't have that as the final, then we also can't have the constructor as const. If we are changing something inside the like in the runtime, then we need to remove the final keyword, and for that we also need to remove the const because it will be changing in the runtime. So that is not a compile time constant. Actually, final is something which is like constant in the after it is compiled. Like in the runtime when it is defined first time, after it is defined, it will be constant. It can't be changed. But const is a constant which is compile time constant. Like when the code is compiled, it is constant from that time itself. For final, in case of final, it can be assigned once. Later on, it can't be changed. It doesn't needs to be constant from the starting of the application. So I just remove the final, and because I don't want constant here, I want to change that. Uh, I can create a function here, change name. This the return type will be void. If even if you don't put a return type here, it is okay because Flutter has a like data type known as dynamic. But we prefer not to use dynamic until and unless it is very much required. So we are using we always like it is uh, suggested to always use a return type. If we are not returning anything, we can just write void here. Then we need to call a function which is used to change the state inside the stateful widget, which is set state. So here I can just change widget dot name to something else. Suppose I give here I write it Razak. I want to change it to Razak, and I will call this function change name inside the on pressed of this example button. Okay. So if I click on this button, it will change because it's already Razak, so it won't change again. Suppose if I want to toggle it once Razak and once I can add the condition here. So we have if else we all if else is same like in any other programming language, and tertiary condition for Dart we have it like this. We can place the condition first here, then the true case and the false case. This is the true case. If the condition widget.name is Ayush, then it will convert to Razak, and otherwise it will convert to Ayush. So if I click on this, it will just toggle. So yes. Razak, am I missing any other common widgets? You want to suggest something?
You can show the stack widget.
Stack widget.
Stack, yeah.
Yeah, great. So let me show a widget. Suppose if I want to show something overlapping, there's a container, and on that container, I want to show something on top of that. So I can use a stack for that. It will also take children as it was taking for column and row. Then we have, let's suppose I take a colored box. Colors dot. I I'm giving a child as size box. Okay, for height and width, there's also something else. We can also give double dot infinity. What it will do, it will take the maximum available space. Suppose if I don't give width, you can see this doesn't comes. If I give this as 50, this coming this much. But if I give double dot infinity, it will take the whole available space in the width. Same for the height as well. I can do. It's not happening because it's inside a stack and there are some rendering things which I need to explain for that why it won't work. That I think let's like ignore this for now. We can't use for the those kind of things when we will be building complex screens designs in the later on classes or projects. I will explain those. So suppose I want a text inside this above this colored blue colored box, but I want in some position above this, like not in the child using column and row, but above this using some position, like I want to place it in this place. Suppose, for example, I need to provide. I'm using a text widget. So the default position is 0, 0. For Flutter, the coordinates works like this. This is the 0, 0, and this is the positive x-axis. This is the positive y-axis. It's not same as the Cartesian coordinates. It is little bit different for Flutter. This is 0, 0, and this is the positive x, and this is the positive y. If I give 10 in the y-axis, it will come below, not above. And the x-axis is as usual from left to right. So I want to position it somewhere like here. So I will just give the position widget, wrap with the position widget. Let me add constant. So here we have height and width first of all. To suppose if I want this is the space it's taking is this much. This is the height and this is the width. But if I want to have this at like this much height and width, I can give. But I'm not changing that. I want to give spacing from bottom. For placing the text sample text here, I can give the position from bottom as well or from the top as well. This much from the top or this much from the left top. Sorry, bottom. So I'm giving from bottom, suppose 20. And from the I can also give the spacing from left this much or from the right this much. So it's easier to give the right how much I want from the right. It's better. So I'm giving the right. So this is positioned here. If I change the values, you see this is changing accordingly. But suppose this is the random positioning according to the coordinates. But if I want it to align to the this place or this place, and I don't want to give the positions accordingly because I there's also something regarding the height. If I give height as 400 from top, I don't know where it will go visually. Due to the screen sizes also there are changes, but I want it to place exactly in this place or in this place, those places. So I will wrap with align instead of positioned align widget. So this has like 9 points where we can align. Top left, uh, we have a first of all we have a parameter alignment. Then we have the enum values alignment dot center bottom center these options. So first is top center top left top center top right center left uh, center left center right and center this is center. Then similarly for the bottom. So if I give center, it will come to the center. One second. Okay, it's not coming because stack also needs some size so that we align that proper the align the children's properly. So if I give the size to this stack, because right now it's taking stack is taking the size according to the colored box, but it doesn't know how much uh, the align doesn't know how much height and width the stack has. So that's why we need to provide height. Suppose 300. Okay. So now we have the align can know that what is the height of the stack. So now it's aligned center. Similarly, so now if also if you can see like if you have seen some errors, I'm getting this render flex overflow, these things. If I add more widgets below this, suppose suppose I increase this height of this widget, this size box to 500. I'm getting this bottom overflowed by 180 pixel. I don't know this is visible. This one, yeah. A render flex overflowed by 166 pixels on the bottom. So it says that the contents I'm trying to fit in the screen, it's not fitting. The height, it needs more height than the screen height. So what we can do, we can add a single child scroll view to this body. We don't need to care about app bar for this thing. We will wrap the padding inside the safe area. We don't generally it's general practice that we don't wrap safe area with the scrolling. We just because it doesn't make sense for the padding to have to be scrolled. This is nothing but a default padding. We will wrap with a widget, the top widget which is inside the safe area with a single child scroll view. Now this is scrollable screen. So it's already 9:16 here. So Tanmay sir, should we continue with the discussions or okay, sure. So like these are many common widgets which I showed today. We will be exploring more as we go with the next classes when we integrate Firebase or APIs. In the next classes, we will be using like list view to have show similar when we see similar widgets like scrolling the products in Amazon, something like that, or chatting with a user. So we will see more widgets. You can also explore the widgets you can see here in the docs widget catalog. I will share these links and this references in the PDF as well, which we will share. Like I think by tomorrow we will share that.